Hey, gang, welcome back to another Drinking on the Fly. Hey, guys, I hope you remember that last episode, our buddy Kevin from Casting Feathers and Fur was joining us for this great guide fly versus not guide fly that we're going to see Kyle tie tonight. Kyle is doing a wire body nymph, and this is a stonefly, right? Wire body stonefly.
Yep.
And this is going to be a great fly. And if you aren't following Ludwig Outdoors with Kyle, you guys are really missing out. So go ahead, if you're around your computer, head over to Instagram. You want to follow Ludwig Outdoors. You want to follow Drinking on the Fly. You want to follow Kayak Flyer. And of course, you want to go ahead and follow our special guest judge tonight, Kevin, over at Casting Feathers and Fur. So please go and do that and help support everybody that makes this show possible. So, Kyle, I am drinking tonight. And we said that these next two episodes were all about Missouri beers for me. I am drinking an elusive IPA from Public House. Now, Public House is probably my favorite quasi-local brewery. They're actually sponsoring the show. So the next couple of episodes, we're going to have Public House beers that they're sending to us. So we want to say thank you to them. If you have a favorite beer company, why don't you reach out to us at drinkingonthefly@gmail.com. Let us know, or reach out to a brewery and ask them to reach out to us so we can review their beer. So I'm going to take a drink of this, and I can already tell it's a little bit sweeter than what I normally drink in IPAs, especially when I homebrew. Mine are always a little bit lighter in color, and that makes the hops go a little bit further. But let's give it a taste and see. That's a solid IPA. That's not going overly fancy. You got a little bit of sweet malt. Nice hop combination. I recommend that one if you're here in Missouri or anywhere that they sell Public House beer. So what are you drinking, Kyle?
I got Rogue's Dead Guy Ale.
Oh, solid choice.
Yeah.
I like how the bold move. The bold
Yeah.
move going with the bottle and not the glass.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
throwing
I just grabbed the bottle
caution.
around the fridge.
Just throwing caution to the wind there. Kevin, how about you, buddy?
Well,
You're a Packers fan, so are you drinking something from Wisconsin?
And growing up from Wisconsin, I have to bring out the Spotted Cow from Nuclearis Brewing. It's a farmhouse ale, which they're hard to find, and reason being they're hard to produce. They always said that in the day, farmers that could produce a consistent farmhouse ale with leftover grains from year to year were revered because it's kind of a difficult beer to produce, and these guys have knocked it out of the park. So I mean, I'm sure people have heard of it. It's just hard to find because it's only available in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who went on a road trip and brought back like 4 cases of that. He was doing the Smokey and the Bandit run.
Yeah. I got a friend who does the same thing. He goes up there and he brings it back.
Yep.
That is a quality beer. Yep. So now that we've got the business out of the way, Kyle, you've got a really exciting fly for us. I know for those of you who may not have seen the last episode, I did a guide fly of a disco shrimp for saltwater. And well, when we even discussed the rest of that on there, but you can go back and listen. But you're doing the exact opposite. So this is guide fly versus art fly. Let's see what you've got for us tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, people fish them. I fished them, and they do catch, but they take a while to tie. So you don't want to lose them. So yeah, it's definitely not a guide fly, but just a stone fly. I'm going to do this one in brown. So I got the brown football bead on there. That's from Spawn. I think it's like one of the only places you can get it. I never found these beads anywhere else. I think Spawn came up with it. I think they have the patent for it or something. But yeah, that's the bead I'm using. The hook size is a 10.
Have you tried the Fly Fisherman Stonefly heads?
I haven't used those.
Okay, I picked those up the other day because they were on sale. I didn't know if you tried those or not.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that use these for like crayfish patterns. The bigger ones, they make bigger sizes, and that's what they're popular for, it seems like. But I decided to throw it on a stonefly because it's just you're not your typical round bead. So
right.
So I'm going to start off with I usually use brown thread, but I ran out of brown on my last order, so I got white, and I'm just going to mark it up with a Sharpie.
There
So
you go.
you're not going to see much of the thread anyway, besides a little bit of the butt section. So white's not going to really matter.
Actually, had this discussion with a guy at work today. He was going to order some stuff, and he said he was going to order some different color thread. And I said, try a Sharpie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless you're doing like a thread body,
Right.
that the thread's going to show a whole lot. Even then, if it'll be fine. But
Right.
most of the flies, you're not going to see any of the thread. Besides maybe a hot spot, at the top or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, you're not going to see the thread almost at all. So I actually pull the bead back here because I'm putting my buyouts on the front for the antenna. So I usually lay down a little bit thread there and cut that off. And this thread is 12-aught thread from Simplified Nano Silk. So
You're a big Nano Silk fan. Kevin, have you used Nano Silk?
I have, but it's expensive.
yeah,
And I'm pretty much more of an 8.0 guy.
You know how you can get it cheaper, don't you? You can go to dooley'sflyfishing.com and use promo code kayak to save 15%.
Yeah, he'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just don't tell him you know us.
It is a little expensive, but I like it a lot. I do use other threads, of course, but especially on threads, I'm using a lot of pull down, especially to hold these buyouts in. I just like a little bit stronger. The worst thing in the world is getting halfway through one of these and you break your thread.
Right.
You could fix it, but it's a little bulkier than you want it. So it's got 2 little buyouts here. These are brown goose buyouts, and I always like to make them line up nicely here.
And did you want to go ahead and talk about I know that this is something dear to Kevin as types of vices. Did you want to talk real quick about your vice?
Oh, my
and
vice?
We can ask
Sure.
Kevin about his favorite vice.
Yeah, so this vice is the Renzetti Presentation 2000. I got it about a year ago. And I like it a lot. Before I got this vice, I actually used my first vice, which was a Cabela's vice that came in a kit.
Yep.
And I still have it. But so this was my second vice, and I've only had it for about a year. Yeah. And I like it a lot so far.
Kevin, you were talking about you've got a HMH that you really enjoy.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got 3 vices actually. I've got Regal, which I like for like production tying, and then the HMH Spartan is just a great introductory vice, but it's one that you can continue to use because it's got the option of 3 jaws for conventional flies, and then you can drop in the tube jig or the tube fly option too. I've got a Barracuda for the big flies, but I tend to go with the HMH just because of its versatility. It's perfect size. You can move it around. It's just a great vice, great company. They're all great, really.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of preference, I think, and however people get into a vice, it just seems like they become fans of whatever they're using. So I couldn't say one's better than the other.
Yeah. We don't have a vice sponsor yet, so maybe it's time we start looking for that.
Yeah, we got a great selection here.
Yeah, we've got every kind of vice.
Yeah, you guys could definitely bring it on.
Yeah, and hey guys, while we're sitting here watching Kyle do this real quick, I just want to remind you, if you go over to Kayak Flyer, the podcast, you can check out when Kevin was a guest on there, and he just find out all about his artwork. Just a great guy and a great group of people that he works with. So what are you up to now, Kyle?
I'm just whip finishing here because I tied in those antenna.
And what color did you use for that?
The antenna?
Yeah.
They're brown.
Brown buyouts?
It's actually, the exact name is Rusty Brown.
Rusty brown buyouts?
For the buyouts, so yeah.
Those are for the tail and the antenna?
Yeah, so on this fly, you're going to use a total of 10 buyouts. So you got 2. Yeah, you got 2 for the antenna, and then 2 for the tail, and then you have 3 on each side for the legs.
Okay.
So 10 total buyouts here. So yeah, there's a lot of buyouts.
So this is like a $64 fly.
No, actually, I do sell a lot of them. But and they're not. I mean, they're more expensive than your normal flies, but um, people buy them. I mean, they fit. I've been sent pictures of people catching fish with them.
Well,
Not
you
this
can
exact
plug
fly, the black ones.
you
Um,
can plug selling them, man, all you want to. This is your show just as much as it's mine.
oh, I know. I'll have plenty of time for that. I got swarmed with orders this last week, and it's been bonkers because I got, I work during the day and then I got to come home and tie.
Yeah, that's a good thing. What is
Hmm.
your
But I
Instagram,
but I
Kyle,
like it.
again?
So what's that?
Your Instagram is what?
It's my company name is Ludwig Outdoors. You can find
Okay.
it. You can put that in there, but
Yep.
it's at Fly Tying with Ludwig.
I'm already following you. I just checked it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. Got it.
Sweet. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I'm on there, and I post quite a bit. I don't post a lot of videos yet. I do have some on there, but um, usually it's mostly photos. I usually include like the recipe on there for
Right.
a lot of them, but
Got a
um,
really cool buzzer on here. That's great pictures too.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think the buzzer. That was like this. Yeah, I just put that one up there not too long ago.
Uh-huh.
Um, all right, so yeah, I got that on there. Then now you can push the bead up over there. I've had a lot of questions. People ask me, "Oh, how do you get the biots through the bead?" You know, you just you just push the bead back and tie them in first,
Yep.
and then you just push the bead back over. So once they figure
Yeah.
that out, they're like, "Mine, duh."
Yeah, and a
But
lot of people will want to hop the thread with the bead, and I've seen that
yeah,
done on certain ones. I would always rather prefer like you did to whip finish it off and then just
Yeah.
restart.
Yeah.
yep. What finish it off? Use a thin thread because if you use a thick thread, the bead might not be able to slide all the way over your thread, and it's going to get stuck halfway up, and you're going to be mad because you got to cut your thread off.
Yep.
So use a thin diameter thread. Like I said, I'm using 12-aught thread on this, and it's a size 10. So,
Right.
and you can put a little glue on this thread here if you want to keep it down. I find
Mhm.
it doesn't really matter once you get all the materials on it. It ain't going nowhere. So I usually just slide the bead up, and I start my thread over again. And I always use GSP wax. That's what I'm doing down here, waxing the thread a little bit.
You know, I was reading Gink and Gasoline, and I've got it. I think it was, well, I'm not sure which one wrote it. I'm trying to think. Anyway, it was one of the Gink and Gasoline guys, one of the main guys. Lewis, I believe, was the one who wrote it. There's a scent company, soft plastic company that's making scent for flies.
Huh.
What
What
really?
what do we think about that?
I don't know.
I hadn't had any problems catching fish without it, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd try it, but I mean, they have it for bass and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think carp definitely,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah,
know.
somehow trout, they're either going to take or they're not. If you put it in the right place, it's the right presentation. Like Kyle said, I've never
yeah,
had a problem. I've
yeah, I think
plenty of
size and
times where I haven't
presentation.
caught them. I fished a fish. I had sent 6 or 7 different flies in the feeding lane, and it's just ignored it the whole time. I don't know in that situation if a scent would have made a difference or not. I don't know.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know what
I
kind of
can't
scent would it
imagine it
be. I
would,
mean,
but
what does a caddis smell like?
Yeah,
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 that's
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I guess if you're fishing streamers, like some sort of like blood scent or something. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I have shot some in places where it's allowed. In places where it's allowed, I have shot some streamers with some garlic spray.
hmm. And it made a difference.
Yeah, I mean they were like
Hmm.
as when you could see like it was
Hmm.
they were a little bit more worked up.
The
Mm-hmm.
trout
You
fishing
know,
or
both trout and bass.
trout?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but these were not in places where there was a pristine regulated.
Right.
This was
Yeah, just drop my
pellet pigs
biots
and
here.
pellet pigs and lake bass, not anything that's
Yeah.
crazy wild, worried about regulations and whatnot.
Cool. I
But
mean, I'll try it. I'll try anything once.
yeah, that's sort of the way I am. I'm like, well, Because I mean, there's always the purist guys who are always dry fly fishermen, and you've got
Yeah.
the guys who didn't like foam, and the guys who didn't, rubber legs, and synthetics, and we're not here to get in a fight. But let us know what you think. Would you, if you were having a hard day fishing, would you reach into the bag and grab some spray and put on there to scent up your fly? I probably would if I was having a hard day fishing.
You know what's funny about you mentioned like the flies people don't like or stick their nose up to, like the mop fly.
Yeah.
That was, believe it or not, that's the fly that got me into tying.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really?
Pretty much. Yeah, I basically, yeah. I mean, I got into trout fishing basically, or fly fishing, I guess 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And yeah, my cousin would tie, and we went down to the current, and he was tying mop flies, and I thought it was fascinating that you could put any color you want on there,
Yep.
and that's kind of what got me into it, believe it or not.
And the funny thing, and Kevin, I don't know if you know this or if you knew this, it always amazes me. I've been tying for, I can't even count the years anymore. When I first started to learn how to tie, and then I took a little break, and then I came back really hard on streamers. And I look at just the amount of time I've been tying back and how much more proficient Kyle is than me at tying
Yeah.
these flies that are not guide flies. I mean, I tie guide flies. I tie big streamers and guide flies, and that's how I do things. And I'm amazed always when I watch him tie a fly.
Yeah. I'm looking at his Instagram. I mean, if you've only been tying for 3 years, Kyle, this is pretty amazing.
I started tying. Actually, it'll be Halloween this year, or actually it might be the day, the 28th. I have a picture of my first fly still, so I still have the first fly I ever tied. You don't want to see it, but
We've all been there.
it's awful. But
Yeah.
I kept it. I think I kept like the first six I tied. But yeah, it was around Halloween, so it'd be exactly 3 years ago to almost the day that I started tying.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yep.
Yeah. And it's amazing to see what you do. And this is what made this show. And Kevin, I know you and I have talked about this show when it was in production. But I think that's what makes this show pretty unique. You can go and watch anybody tie a fly, but just the different attitudes and temperatures toward how we tie them. You've got, Kyle who ties these absolutely beautiful flies, and then I'm tying these, nasty streamers that are, quick, dirty, effective. I
Mhm.
think it's a great compliment to one another. And you have that too in your world with artwork as well, because you made our logo, a beautiful logo, but then you also do beautiful stickers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started out in fly tying, like Kyle. I wanted to put stuff up on Instagram and kind of learn from the best and be motivated by others. But I got frustrated. I mean, I can't imagine reaching Kyle's level in 3 years. I've been at it since probably 2012. I mean, and still, I put things up there every once in a while, and at the bottom of my page is a bunch of stuff. But it's tough going. But the art's evolved a little bit faster, I think. So my goal is just to create artwork, and then if I like it, I'll share it with others through the stickers. So I just basically take the artwork that I do and then send it to a publishing company, and then they produce the stickers for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great outlet, especially during COVID. It was excellent. And what's
Yeah.
really been fun is just networking with all kinds of people on Instagram. People are asking me all the time, "Hey, can you design this or that or whatever?" I'm like, "Sure, we'll work, agree on a price. You shout me out, I'll shout you out, and we'll kind of share the fact that we've worked together, and then we'll get some more followers, and that's kind of what's motivated me, really. It's
Yeah.
You're not going to make money selling stickers or doing artwork, but it's fun to connect with people. To
Yeah.
me, that's the reward.
And there could possibly be the drinking on the fly logo on a sticker if there's enough
Yeah,
demand. If people want it,
yeah.
they can just
we
reach
could,
out to you at Casting Feathers and Fur on Instagram.
yeah, we definitely could do that. Or if they want a design of their own, or they like
Yeah.
one of our designs, we can put their
Yeah.
name on it. Whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
So where are you at now, Kyle?
I'm at the point now where I got the wire tied in. Probably can't
Okay,
really
so
see that
you tied in
wire.
the back two
Yep. So the back two
biots,
bias
and
are
then you
tied
tied in
in.
your wire.
Then I tied my wire, and
Single strand of wire,
nope, it's a double.
double. Okay. And then
Yeah.
what
Sometimes
size wire?
this is a small,
Uh-huh.
but I use brassy size too sometimes.
Okay.
Um, so I wouldn't use medium. It just makes it a little bit too big.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, especially if you went to a size 8 or something. But I use smaller brassy because I like the thin body.
And you're just going to
Um,
wrap it. You're not going to weave it.
I'm not going to weave it. You
Okay.
could. That'd make it even more
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just going to wrap it. And the way I wrap my wires, I usually use 2 strands or 3 because that keeps it tighter. You definitely want a flatter underbody. It keeps it easier to wrap. And then I use my thread stays in the back. So that's kind of my guide as I go up the fly. So I have my wire, and then I don't use the rotary on this because I just like to be more precise.
Right.
So the
So I
wire, the thread is in front of the wire, but it's
yes,
right in front. So whenever you're wrapping the wire, you're moving the thread.
yeah, I'm moving the thread up, and
Yeah,
I've found that helps me keep it even tighter.
right.
Yeah.
It's just something
Keeps
for
the
the
wire in
wire to
place,
push
right?
against.
Yeah,
Yep.
What's
keeps
that?
it from
Yeah,
pushing backwards. It's a little bit of tension.
yeah,
Mhm.
just a little bit, not much, but it's
Yeah,
enough to keep it in line.
yeah. I
And what
just
bob?
saw. Oh,
What bobbin are you using, Kyle?
I'm using the Loon Ergo bobbin.
Okay, so it's got some weight to it.
Yeah, it's got a little weight to the bobbin
Yeah.
does. Yeah, so it's
Okay,
holding
good.
that thread down.
Right.
So and then yep, I just wrap up the.
we've got to get you back. We've got to get you on with the right guy, with Justin from Right Bobbins. Kevin, do you use Right Bobbins?
I have one. I have a midge size, and it works well for that. I've not tried the larger ones, but I'm a
Oh,
CNF guy. I know I've invested in those, and somehow I just became hooked on them. I've
okay.
probably got half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
It's a great weight bobbin, but a lot of people like the right bobbin.
Yeah. Justin's a great guy too, though. I mean, I think I respect his bobbins more now that I know him and what his business model is and things like that.
Yeah, I'd love if he'd add a little bit of weight to it. To me, I need a heavier bobbin, but I probably could figure out a way to do that.
Or you could just call him on the phone.
Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah. Yeah. I can give you his number.
Because, like in Kyle's situation, some weight definitely helps to
Yeah,
keep
it
all the
keeps the
materials.
tension
Yep,
down.
yep.
Hmm.
Yep, and I mean you don't
What's
have to
nice
keep
about
it
right
down
is if
there.
you're tying a lot of flies, your wrist does not get tired, so there's an advantage there.
Hmm.
But somehow I like to have some heft in my hand.
Yeah.
I don't tie a lot of flies at once. Maybe that's part of it.
And the thing that I'm worried most about, and I was looking at a new vise. I was looking at a peak vise over at Dooley's Fly Fishing, say 15% promo code kayak, and it's going to be a couple of months before he gets a new vise in. So if you're looking to buy anything right now, you need to be ordering it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's whether it's feathers, whether it's anything at all, you need to be, if it's not made in America, if it's got anything coming from overseas, you need to get on that now.
There's some
all right.
great hackle providers or farmers or whatever you'd call them. I mean, that are not as well known as maybe a whiting would be here in the United
Hmm.
States. There's some great companies, and there's one in Minnesota and one in
Have
New
you heard
York.
of Grumpy Platypus?
I've not.
Mm-mm.
No.
I heard of that. I friended them, or well, I didn't friend them. I followed them on Instagram and I shot them a message. They haven't gotten back with me yet. But when I do a Google search, I can't find them.
Hmm.
But I don't remember who it was that I saw on there. It was a Facebook or an Instagram post, a social media post about them, and I thought, man, that would be a great person to have come on and see what
Yeah.
their hackle's like.
I wonder if Charlie Collins is still around. He's out of New York, and you have to order stuff by phone still from him. He was a former
Well,
teacher
that's
and terrific stuff. Sells a cape and a saddle together because he hates saddle hackle. So he
Yeah.
just throws that in. And there's a
Oh,
great
that's
company in
nice.
Minnesota called Root River Hackle,
I've
which
seen them.
husband and wife. Yep, they have really nice stuff and they're super nice people. Um, so those are some companies that are out there that aren't maybe getting the recognition that of course a Whiting or even a Mets we're getting we are getting.
I, I have a former student, and I know Kyle, we're talking over you, and I'm sorry. I have a
oh, you're
former
good, man.
student who has gotten chickens, and basically there was somebody that had some chickens that were too genetically close to another hackle provider, and so he sort of got shut down, and then he wound up doing some more things with some of these, and my friend has, or my former student has gotten some of these chickens, and within like 3 years we're going to start testing these
Hmm.
chickens for their hackle. And so I think that's kind of interesting that, being here in, you know, nowhere, Missouri, that we've got the opportunity of somebody who may be making a locally sourced tackle,
Right.
which
Wow.
is great.
Yeah. Takes years to do.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be fun to get into that for sure.
Yeah. So did you just, you tied that off with the wire, and then
Yeah.
did you put some solar res across the whole thing?
Yes, I just put Solarez on the wire,
Okay.
just the body, just the Solarez bone dry.
Okay.
Loon probably makes something really thin like that
Well,
too.
there's a thin and there's a flow. But I hear all
Okay.
these great things about bone dry, and I'm really thinking about ordering some.
I love it, especially if you just because it's so thin. I mean, if you knock it over, it's gone. Like it's like
Okay.
water.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's great for really small flies too. Like just a little, you just need a little bit, and it works really well, and it goes a long way. So, and I love using it for bodies like this, and putting a Solarez on or the bone dry on the like tinsel bodies.
Hmm.
It makes it pop a little bit better. You could use any resin, I'm sure, but the bone dry is just so thin that it doesn't bulk it up, you know,
Yeah.
because
And it
we
doesn't have
have
that
the
tackiness. Is that
it
why it's
doesn't.
called bone dry?
Yeah, it dries really dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not
I hate the
tacky at
old
all.
resins that has that sticky residue that
Yeah.
it's
I've
the
never had
worst.
an issue with tackiness from it. Um, so
I
I really like it.
coat I coat a lot of my loon stuff with the flow because it's less tacky, but I hear that the bone dry is even less
And
tacky than that.
yeah, I've only used the clear. They make it in clear and black. I'm sure they'll come out with colors at some
Yeah.
point, but um, the clear has worked really well for me, and I use it on a lot of flies. So
I've got like 5 different colors of loon.
yeah, I don't have any
Um,
colored resin yet. I do want to kind of play with it, but
Mhm.
when
I haven't
when
gotten
the
there yet.
Kayak Flyer podcast started, I contacted Loon, and they were very, very supportive of the podcast with discounts, and so I've bought only Loon because of
Gotcha.
that, and I've not had a problem with any of their products. Um,
Yeah.
I use all their fly tying scissors and everything else, except I don't use the ergo bobbin because I like the right bobbins.
Yeah.
But I think solar res is it's how to start a fight. Ask about a fly line, right? I think
Yeah.
it's the
Just
same
about
thing with
anything.
resins. Yeah,
Yeah.
Just go on a Facebook page and ask what's the best vice I should buy, and
Oh
yeah,
my
then
gosh.
yeah.
that'll
They
start
get
a whole.
nasty on that one.
You'll get 200
Oh,
comments, and half of them are just bashing the
Yeah.
other vice. It's like they
yeah,
all work the same. They hold your hook,
Yes.
and
yeah.
you
Agreed.
know,
I always put on there. I've got a vice. Bernie was really good with me whenever I had a jaw chip. Bernie was great from Montana with the Odyssey Spider.
yeah.
I can't
As long as
I
it,
can't say anything bad about him or his vice, but does that
yeah,
mean
and they
I
all
don't
have
want a
good,
different vice?
they're all. I think they're all. I mean, I've only tied on, like I said, really this one. and your old cheap Cabela's vice. So I really can't say much about the other ones, but they all seem to be great.
Yeah.
From all the reviews on all of them. So can't really knock any of them. I don't think so.
I think it's sort of like when I had my Harley Davidson. Anywhere I drove it, I would see another Harley Davidson and think, "Ooh, I need that one too."
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like after I bought this one, I was like, "Ooh, I kind of want a Regal too,"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, let's not do that. Let's spend the money on something else.
I
But
saw
I
a
can
funny
imagine.
I saw a funny meme today. It was a person that called and said, your son says that you tie your own flies," and they go, "Yes, we do." And he goes, "Do you save money?" And the guy goes, "Yes." And the guy looks at the kid and he goes, "Your parents are dead." It's like nobody saves money tying flies. This is a joke. We do
Yeah,
it for
don't
the
get into it because you think you're going to save your money. I
no,
went through a lot of money, and
yeah,
just because
yeah,
you buy one
Pinch on the
material, you got to
flies
have
you've
it in
tied.
every size and color.
Yeah.
even tying
Catching a
guide
fish on
flies.
a fly you've tied yourself is just there's nothing else like that.
Oh
So
yeah, when I
it's worth
first
the investment.
when
Yeah,
I caught the first trout on the fly that I tied, it was like that was a game
Yeah.
changer. It was
yeah.
over. It was. I don't. I mean, I haven't bought a fly since. Um,
I
but I'm
buy
not
them to
saying I
look at.
won't.
I buy them to look at and figure out what they're made out of.
Yeah, yeah. So you take a picture of it and
Yeah,
Yeah.
go home and tie it.
yeah. I bought a
Um,
master splinter the other day because I'd never tied it, and I'm like, I want to look at one of those.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah. That's
hard to
one
get
thing I
the
haven't got
proportion
into
from
is
a book.
big streamers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
From a book or a video, it's hard to get the proportion. So it's helpful to have one in hand for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
yeah. It is.
I pretty much just watch videos. I don't even have a fly tying book. Um,
Mm.
not saying I won't get one, but I just never went out and bought one or ordered one. Um, I think it's
I
just
have
the
over
way
75.
What's that?
I'm addicted. I have over 75 books.
Do
Oh
you have
wow.
Jack's book,
I
Kevin?
do. Well, I have an old version of it, but
Okay,
it's not autographed.
And
okay.
there's
I need to
definitely
I
take
have
care
stuff
of
it's
that.
a
in books.
spiral bound one,
Yeah, they're still spiral bound,
or
but
they,
you
yeah,
need an autographed one. I need to.
yeah.
I've been meaning to call Jack anyway.
He's he's a fun guy.
Oh, dude, he is hilarious.
Yeah.
We ended the podcast with him, and he started telling the funniest stories while we were waiting for everything to finish up. And I'm like, Jack, you're killing me. I got to get you back on. And Al and Gretchen Beatty are the same way.
Oh
They're
yeah,
great people.
yeah.
So many
Their
great people in this industry.
their feature in Fly Tire is always fun to look at. They've got so many great shortcuts. I think.
Yeah. And then I know I've invited both of you guys down to the Sow Bug. So we've got to make a showing down there. Rick from Oasis Fly Tying Benches is going to be there. We've got to all get together and just get rowdy.
Yeah, that's in March. You said right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to be a
I
good
looked the
time.
event up. I plan on going. I just
Yeah,
gotta get my vacation in. And
yeah.
should be good.
I'd
You
love
guys can
to
all.
meet Dave Whitlock.
Oh,
He's
well,
my
you
hero.
can. We just meet at my house and we all drive down together, ride in my vehicle. It'll be fun.
That is that's who's inspired my artwork for sure. I mean, that's not anywhere near it, but I just love his style.
Yeah,
Such a great guy.
Patty's gonna shit when we all show up for dinner. So hey, Patty, I invited an extra friend or 5.
Speaking of Dave Whitlock, I'm using his dubbing right here.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
That's a spiky squirrel dubbing.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
I think I'm gonna start my own squirrel dubbing brand this winter.
There you go. I mean, you said you got a
Well,
lot of squirrels.
I live in town and I've got a garden and I'm just waiting until they get their better fur and I'm just gonna be trapping them like crazy. I figure I can trap them, shave them, and release them back into the wild.
It's funny. Like when I drive to work, I see more wildlife than people because
Yeah,
I live out in the woods basically, um, and it's amazing how many squirrels I hit. Just driving,
I'm
it's
telling
a
you.
shame, but
Well, they don't pay attention.
no, they're animals. But all right, so yeah, so now I got the So I tied in the back buyouts. I don't know if you can see that really. And then I tied in the scud back. I'm using
Okay.
tan scud back. And then I put on just a little bit of the dubbing right there in front of the scud back. And
Okay.
I had a lot of questions about how I get the folds on these. Like with my
Yeah.
pictures, they're asking, how do you fold it? Well, what I do is I just take it and just literally just fold it back just a little bit, pinch it with your thumb. I just grab it with my finger, and I just go over, and I just pull down, and then it folds in. And you have to adjust it a little bit, but it's folded in like that. And then you do that 3 times. So now it just gets repetitive in terms of tying buyouts, a little bit of dubbing, fold. Do it 3 times.
All right. So
You
you're
just got to make
tying
sure
it.
it's correct.
You're folding it over in the toward the back of the hook, right?
Yeah. So you're folding it like you're up front here. You're folding it back and then just pushing down,
Right.
and it
And
kind
so
of
that's
folds
going to make
over.
that layer look right.
Yep, and it gives you a
Yeah.
layer look. When you flip it upside down, it looks like it's sticking out a little bit. Um,
Is
I
this
see
fly
that
on your
somewhere.
page, Kyle?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a video of me tying it, which I probably should get one up there.
Right.
But
I thought that's what you were doing here, buddy.
well, yes, I am. That
You
is
mean a
true.
close-up video?
Yeah, maybe a close up or something. Because it is hard to describe the folding. I guess it's a little easier.
And I
to-
think we're still in the process with the show being only 6 episodes deep. We're in the process of possibly starting to do accompanying videos that are closer up.
Yeah, we'll adjust as we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I said
yeah,
this is a
that fly is on there. I don't know if you're looking for it, but
So I found the golden stonefly, so it's similar.
yeah, it should have the
Right?
same. It should have the same head. Yeah, that's an older one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's similar, very similar.
Mhm.
Yep, same style, just different, different bead.
Tell us about your
Different.
photography. What are you using? These are excellent
Uh,
pictures.
oh, I just use my phone.
Really.
Yeah, I get that question a lot too. It's just my iPhone XR, I think it is. It's an older one, not really that old, but yeah, it's
Yep.
just that phone, and I literally do it underneath this light right here. You can't really see it. It's my old college lamp light. If you can,
So it's not an LED light or anything. It's just a
Mm,
regular.
it's not an LED at all. It's just a bulb that you can buy at Walmart. Cheapo bulb. You can buy it anywhere. You can probably buy it at a gas station.
Right.
And then I take it. There's no background. It's just my wall.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no background to it. It's just a white wall. And then I edit it all on Instagram. So sometimes I'll go to Lightroom if my photo isn't if it's a really small fly. I don't have a macro lens or anything. So I might have to adjust a little bit, but
Wow.
well,
Incredible.
hopefully by the time this comes out, that Patreon page will be open. So maybe you can Patreon for a macro lens.
yeah, I've been looking at them. It would make it a little easier because it does take a little while to edit it.
Yeah.
Well, to take the photo because you gotta,
Yep.
you just gotta get it right to make it look clear.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's
Right.
blurry.
That's the thing. Because I have a macro setting on my little Nikon, and it doesn't even come out as clear as this. So
Oh wow.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I just use it on my phone. I don't have any special camera or nothing.
Hmm.
But it does take a minute to get it right. But
Yeah. Well, we've got to make sure that we have the Patreon set up, and that way people can donate money for beer and tying supplies and
yeah.
photography supplies for you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll take it.
And that
Yeah,
little
I mean,
gadget that, because I gave you a microphone. You need that little gadget to have your microphone set up. So that'll be the first and foremost out of the Patreon.
yeah, for sure.
Am I harassing him enough, Kevin?
Hey, you're not wrong though. I mean,
He doesn't seem to be phased.
No, he
He's
doesn't.
focused.
He is. He's in the zone. I want to know how he
Yeah.
makes those legs. I want to know how he makes those bend like that.
Oh, you
I
want
think I have an idea,
easiest
but I'm
thing?
not sure.
easiest thing on the planet. And you'll see in a minute. I don't bend them until the end. I bend
Okay.
them before the resin on the back here. So
Okay.
I got my second set of legs in there. So my second set of legs in, and then I always fold them back on each other so they don't slide around on me. So that's what you're seeing here.
You know, what we should do is the Patreon should have the close up of how we do the flies.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Bonus content.
Bonus content.
Yeah, this one would be a good one to do close up because it is so much detail. It's
Yeah.
hard to get from a distance. You're probably not seeing a lot. So close up would be helpful. But it's a fun fly to tie for sure. I mean, I got like 300 buyouts sitting right here because I got an order I got to fill.
Oh my God.
I literally bought a pack of buyouts and they're like gone because I had to trim them all.
If you want to drive down here, I've got some you can borrow.
Wow. I had to buy another pack, so
we're brewing beer on Saturday, so if you want to come down.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got a big order from Dooley's coming too. I did that today.
Oh, that got diverted.
What?
Your order from Dooley's, I hijacked it.
You hijacked it?
It's coming here.
That's a decent order. You'll have
Tell me about it. I saw the list.
I don't know. It could have. I didn't get the tracking for it. So.
I know. I called Dooley and I said, hey, I said, Nick, I said, I know that Kyle put in an order. He goes, yeah. I said, well, he actually ordered that for me as payment for him being the co-host. And he goes, well, I'll just mail it to you.
Well, if it shows up there, I'll definitely come get it because I'll have some mad customers here.
I wouldn't do that to you. I'd do it to Kevin.
There you go.
I don't order that much stuff. I've got so much stuff from years back. I don't think I'll ever use it all.
Yeah.
So if you guys need anything, let me know. Put in an order. I'll send it to you.
You can start your own fly shop with all your material.
Yeah, I almost could.
Hey, any good fly tyer can start their own shop.
Yeah.
You at a certain point you could for sure. I had to buy a whole other rack for my threads and wires because mine got full so fast. I was just setting it on a board behind my. You can't see it, it's where my computer's at, but it got so crazy and messy that I had to get two of them.
Yeah, you've got to go over to Oasis Benches, man, and get one from Rick.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I got my cheapo one from Walmart.
Yeah, I need another one from Rick. Mine is already full.
Yeah, they fill up so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I got two sections in there. So there's two folds, and I'll hold this up to the camera when it's done. I wish I could zoom in a little bit, but so I got one section of buyouts left. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 8 buyouts in there now. And usually, if I'm not doing this on film, I could tie 3 or 4 of these in an hour.
Okay.
So this is taking a lot longer, but that's because we're talking and just having fun.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah, but usually when I'm tying these for people, I don't know what I'm thinking. It's going to take me this long to tie it normally.
No, shush. You want to tell them it takes you that long. That justifies the high price.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the bead.
Aren't these $18 a piece?
Yeah. No, these would go. Well, when I first sold them, I did them a little cheaper because I got a discount on the beads. But typically, they would sell for $4.40. Yeah, because the bead alone is 60 cents.
Yeah.
Like the football bead. I don't know why people. I mean, I tie them with regular bead. That's a cheaper bead, and those sell the most. But these are just kind of a novelty. But people still fish them. So
yeah. Well, I bet if you use those stonefly, was it the nymph head? I bet you could do even more.
Yeah,
those beads are more expensive though.
Well, here's how I started selling these. Usually I wouldn't sell anything like this, like detailed, because it does take a little while to tie. But I had it posted on Instagram, and somebody's like, "Hey, can you tie me a bunch of those?" I was like, "How many is a bunch?" And he just wanted like 8 of them. So I was like, "Sure, I'll send it." And then I kept getting more requests and more requests. So I was like, "Okay, let me order some more stuff, and I'll get you going." So that's what I did.
Mhm.
People like them. I'll you know, I'll tie
Oddly
them for them
enough,
for
nobody
sure.
asks to buy my flies.
No,
Yeah.
it's I barely have any flies for me, so
Yeah.
you can tie me some.
Yeah.
I give them away to my friends for Christmas because nobody ever says, "Hey, can I have some of your flies?"
Yeah, I literally I went on a trip with my cousin not that long ago, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need to start on my box because you tie like every day. How do you not have any flies?" I'm like, "Those are all for orders." It's like I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
ever tie for me anymore.
Yeah. I do think it is hilarious though, and I think Kevin agrees that you've got two totally people that are opposite on how they tie their flies.
What? Oh, it'd be guide flies and these.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll tie guide flies too. I've
Well, I know
um.
you can. It's just you have the ability to tie better.
Oh, gotcha. Well, you could do it. I know you could do it. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Have you
I,
seen my
I didn't
Rainbow
think I could.
Warriors?
Huh? You should tie this fly on the next one.
Dude, no way.
You
No
could do
way.
it.
We'd be here. It'd be a 3-hour episode.
Oh no.
I'd be unwinding stuff and taking it back and adjusting my glasses. Oh, it'd be horrible.
Well, always remember less is better, especially with
Yeah.
the dubbing. I always tell people when they're tying stuff like this, take what you think you need and then cut it in half, and
Yeah.
then that's probably what you need. Because I literally barely use any dubbing. I used to use way too much, and these folds would be so big. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's junk now. So it's just a little bit, and you still get that buggy bottom on there. You still
Yeah.
get all those. It's still just as buggy.
Yeah.
So
And
that's all my
that's
buyouts there.
okay. Yeah. And that's one of the things that a lot of guys who are just starting out have a huge problem with is
Yeah.
material. Kevin, did you have that? Too
Yeah.
much
I mean,
material?
you guys are talking about colored thread. The only reason I use colored thread is because if I'm doing a Catskill pattern, the thread is primarily my body.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just enough dubbing to say that I've used some dubbing. I mean, and
Right.
honestly, I think it's just as much thread as it is dubbing. So
Yep.
for sure, Kyle, less is more.
And that's
And
most like
I
that's
remember A.K. Best had a great line in one of his production tying books. He said, "You really don't know a fly, and you really don't master a fly until you've tied 10 dozen of them
Yeah.
all at once, straight through, and then you get good at it. So anybody can do it. It's just you got to put in the time."
yeah, a lot of work.
So
Yep.
I will tell you, this is my best friend on foam flies.
What's that thing?
What
It's a
is that? I
little,
can't.
this is a Japanese um, airbrush for
Oh
some
yeah.
kind of robots. And they take a marker that is like a metal flake marker, but if you cut it and heat it, you can put a Sharpie in it. And so then you can spray, the Sharpie comes down like that
Right.
and the airbrush comes out. And so you can take white foam and you can pattern it however you want to, or
Yeah.
spray it in a solid color. And it was
There's a
like $24 on Amazon.
there's a company that Coptic or something that
Yeah,
does
that's
that.
it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've never tried one, but it looks cool.
Frugal Fly Rotter. Mike
Hmm.
turned me on to that from Frugal Fly Rotter. And I bought one and I had a little airbrush. Actually, my neighbor had it and I was talking about it and he goes, I've got an old airbrush compressor. And he gave it to me.
Hmm.
And when I make my poppers, I'll paint. I'm normally using white for my poppers and I'll just paint them.
Hmm.
And like with the
That'd be
bottom
very
of my
cool.
STP frogs, I'll just paint them with that. Hit a green on the outside, I hit a yellow on the inside of the green, and fade into white like a frog's belly.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters to the fish, but it sure makes me a lot happier.
Yeah. More confidence when you're fishing it.
Yeah. So what you doing now, bud?
I'm just trying to finish a top up here. Well, I had my last fold a little bit too far back, but it's not going to matter a whole lot.
I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, I think you should restart.
I don't know. I could just trash this one right now.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, you might as well
Send it to
restart.
me. I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, it really does bug me sometimes. It's like it
Yeah.
should be just like literally like a millimeter, just
Yeah.
that way. But oh well. So yeah, so I got all 3 folds, all 10 biots are in there. I just have to finish off the thread, whip finish. But since I'm using such a thin thread, I have to build up a little bit of a dam behind this bead. Otherwise, the bead will spin. So
Could you
that's
add
what.
dubbing and do that?
Yeah, I do add little bits of dubbing in between
Yeah.
wraps. You'll notice. I did a
Save your
little bit
thread
already.
too.
Huh?
Save some thread too. That stuff's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
so I usually do like a little bit of dubbing, and then I'll do a little. Then I'll just wrap it down because this
But
stuff
Kevin,
just.
you know it's cheaper when you order from
There you
dooliesflyfishing.com.
go. I got to get
Promo
on
code
that.
kayak.
I'm seriously going to look that up right now.
You need to.
What
Don't
is
tell
it?
them you know us.
How do you spell it?
Yep, that's it.
DOOLESFLYF.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dooley's Fly Fishing.
Yep. Don't tell them you know us. Just use promo code kayak.
Okay.
All right, now that should be all even there.
So we've got to give up these late nights. My 11-year-old son is having to run me down a refill on my beer. My wife's already in bed. I'm having to text my 11-year-old and tell him to bring me a beer.
I have to teach 8th graders tomorrow, the day of Halloween. Can you imagine how crazy they're going to be tomorrow?
Yeah.
The day
Now,
before, the weekend before Halloween. They all dress up and
yeah. Now,
get crazy.
you're an English teacher too, right?
Social studies.
Social studies. Okay, yeah. So yeah,
33 years.
yeah, that's right. And then Mike Williams is an art teacher. He's been on the show before. And then Rick from Oasis Fly Tying is a music teacher, or from Oasis Fly Benches. I've been amazed at the number of teachers that are, I mean, we go through enough during the day. We just come home and torture ourselves again by tying flies.
Yeah. Yep. I mentioned A.K. Bess earlier. He was a band teacher in his younger days.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It's like, we don't punish ourselves enough during the day.
Yeah.
I have tomorrow off. We had parent teacher conferences tonight, so I have tomorrow off.
You got the day off.
Yeah, I'm gonna be drinking all night and tying flies all day.
Wow. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, here. I just got a refill thanks to my little buddy. Thank you, buddy. So we've got another.
Magically appears.
Magically appears. On that one TV show, they've got a beer assistant. I've got a beer son.
All right, I think she's done, minus the folding of the legs and the resin. Now the resin I use on there is the Solaris Thin. I do use that because the bone dry will just run through it.
So where do you put the resin on the wing case and everything?
Yeah, so you can leave it just like this and it'll be just fine. But yeah, I take it and I run it down the wing case. So.
And just stiffen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Give it that.
So I just
in case one of those
shell
toothy critters get it. I love how meticulous he is with that.
All right. That's about right there.
Every time I use one of those droppers, I either don't get anything or I get way too much.
Yeah.
Oh, from the resin?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to be careful. I've had a glob pop out on accident on me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and you spend all that time.
Handy.
Yeah, I know. So I'm really careful with it now because you don't want to mess us up at the very end. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I would just put it on a sticky note and grab it with my bodkin and then wipe it on that way. But
yeah, that's a good way to control it. Yeah. I've never done that, but that's smart.
Yeah, you waste some, but man, I mean, and resin's not cheap. The UV resins aren't cheap. but
Nope. So definitely don't want to waste it.
compared to losing an entire fly, you sort of got to judge how much you're going to put out.
Yeah.
That's like making those eyes for that guide fly. It's sort of like you sort of know you put out twice as much thick as you're putting out color.
All right. So there's the resin. It's on there. It's hard as a rock. Now the fold the legs. I just bend it with my fingers.
That's it.
That's it.
You don't use a heated bodkin or anything?
I mean, you could, I guess, but I've tried that before and it doesn't do it any better.
Well, here I
So
thought you did something fancy and you're just folding it with your fingers. I'm
Yeah.
not subscribing to this channel anymore.
The easiest way is just grab all three of them and just hold it down like this. And then
I
there
thought
they
you were
go.
going to show us something fancy.
Hey, I'm not very fancy. They may look fancy, but
They look great. I just thought you were going to do
Yeah.
more than that.
no, because I mean, obviously when it gets in the water, they're going to move around and get bitten
Yeah, but I
off.
thought you were at least going to like do the whole, heat up the bodkin until it's a little warm to the touch and fold it over thing.
It might make it a little easier, I guess, but look at that. I mean, that'll stay just like that.
Nothing
Oh,
better
man.
than simple that looks fancy. I'm all about
Yeah.
that. That's
And
awesome.
then
Yeah.
here,
I'm kind of let down though. I was expecting Kyle to have some kind of, oh, this is the way you do it. It's the new way. And yeah.
oh no. And then here
Full of
is
surprises.
the fly. I don't know if you can see it very
Oh,
well.
that is a beautiful fly.
Very nice.
A little better.
That is beautiful.
If you go on the Instagram, it's like it's close to the top. This exact fly. But yeah, that's the fly. Yeah, right there.
Okay. So last episode was shorter. This episode was longer. Before we go,
Yeah.
Kevin, you've got to make a decision.
This is really hard. So the one thing I have to say, I wasn't given any parameters in terms of how this. Where's my rubric? Right.
You have no rubric. This is a who's your bestest friend.
Yeah. Who brought me onto the show?
Yeah, who invited you onto the show?
Well, in terms of artistic aesthetic, I got to go with Kyle. In terms of practicality and getting her done, catching fish, I'm going to go with Sean.
A draw. What do you think?
No, you're winners in two different categories. I think you're both winners. There's no draw.
Oh, well, I'm a winner in one, and Kyle's a wiener in other.
No, excellent flies all the way around.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
thanks for coming by.
You're the first of some of our special guest judges that we're going to have on. And you'll probably be back to be a guest judge again. And maybe with or without Jack being on here as well. Just so you two can banter about how horrible we're doing when we tie our flies. Yeah. But I want to say thank you again. And be sure to follow Kevin with Casting Feathers and Fur. And I always say it's Ludwig Outdoors, but it's Fly Tying with Ludwig. Either one will get you there. You
can find it both ways. So
yeah. And then Drinking on the Fly and as well Kayak Flyer Podcast. Check us all out. If you liked Kevin, if you enjoyed him, go check out Kayak Flyer Podcast. You can listen when Kevin was there with Casting Feathers and Fur. It was a great show. We had a really good time. And check out his Instagram. He's the one that made our logo. We cannot say thank you enough. Kevin, any final words as we wrap up this elongated episode?
No, it's fun. And then I'm happy to offer any fly suggestions and beer suggestions because those are two of my passions. So happy to help in the future.
I knew we were besties for a reason.
Yeah. I have a beer page too called Casting for Craft. So it's just it's my second passion. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm joining that now.
All right.
How do you feel about cigars?
They give me a headache. So I love the smell of a pipe, and I don't mind smoking a cigar. It's just the next day I just get a screaming headache. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to have a pipe, you have to get a Missouri Meerschaum pipe.
There we go.
The original
I did raise
corn
tobacco.
cup.
We raised tobacco when I was a kid in Wisconsin. We had 2 acres. It was the hardest work I ever did. But it was for chewing tobacco. I know everybody says that.
Yeah.
But tobacco in the shed drying in the fall is the most beautiful smell. It's like better than a cigar shop.
Well,
Awesome.
you know, you're a social studies teacher. I'm an English teacher. We both know this. The only reason America is here is because of tobacco and alcohol. I mean,
Yep.
that's what they were shipping back was tobacco and alcohol.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Works. Still works.
still works. Most of your vices you can take care of with fly fishing, tobacco, and alcohol. We need to rename the ATF. The FFTA, fly fishing, tobacco, and alcohol. Kyle, I think I probably had one too many of these nice public house beers the way I'm talking tonight. Um, Anything else you want to add? Hopefully our Patreon will be ready and we'll have those up close videos.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get more detailed close ups. I think those will be popular for sure. I think, yeah, we'll definitely get this one on there and get your shrimp on there for sure. The other ones we tied in the previous videos, we can get those on there too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna finish up wrapping up the Patreon hopefully before this drops. And then guys, it'll be cheap. It's not gonna be expensive. I'm thinking $1 a
Yeah.
month or so. And that'll get you 2 up close videos or however we can figure out how to do it. We've never done Patreon. If you've done it, let us know. But we're trying to make this a fun show and we hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe. Please share this out to your friends. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, obviously here on YouTube where you're watching the show. Thank you so much, guys. We will talk to you again in 2 weeks.